Welcome to Home Buying 101. With me today is David and Luz from the Lyons team. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great.
Awesome. Super excited to be here. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Thank you for coming in. So first of all, of course, introduce yourselves to our audience and, of course, tell us how you guys got into real estate.
I'll start. My name is David. I actually started as a barber. I wasn't in real estate at all. I was a barber. She actually started before me in real estate, and we kind of just talked about it and thought it would be a good idea for both of us to be in the game together to kind of maximize our potential in the industry. And then,
So my name's Luz, and I have been in real estate for, I believe this year is going to be my third year. I started as a wholesaler here with the Lyons team back in May of 2022. I transitioned to a retail agent, so I got my license in July of 2023, and it's going to be my first official full year this year. So,
awesome. What got you into wholesale before real estate, I guess?
Honestly, it just happened. So I actually know Juan. He's a friend of mine from church. I met him there. We kind of clicked because we had a little business before. We sold dulces enchilados.
Nice.
So he had a restaurant, and we did a lot of those events like the little pop-up events, and that's how we started.
he was also our number one buyer.
So he was like, hey,
Number
you know
one
what?
client.
Yeah. He's like, let's do some pop-up events here at my restaurant, because he was always about promoting and like making it grow, and so were we. So we ended up collaborating. I ended up having, I think, probably like up to 30 vendors come out to his restaurant. It was really good. He ended up selling his restaurant. He got into fix and flips. We were one of his first investors.
Nice.
As well when he did the fix and flips. Long story short, he started getting into wholesale, and one day he hit me up because we had our barbershop, and he saw me at a network event, and he was like, hey, you should join my team. And I thought he was kidding. I was like, ha ha ha, yeah, and then he's like, no, I'm serious. And then I was like, okay, well, let's talk. So we did, and I quit my job, I think 2 weeks after I had that conversation with him.
That's awesome.
And I sold my first deal before actually stepping into the office. And I guess that was, for me, that was like a sign. It was like, oh, shoot, like this is meant to be.
That's awesome.
And that's basically how I started as a wholesale.
Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. So, of course, every week we talk about what the market looks like. So, Luz, what does the market look like this week?
So as of right now, I actually have some updates here. I wrote them down. So we have a current active listings of 16,500. Current pending transactions on the MLS is around 8,400. And then coming soon, we have 747 listings that are currently pending, about to be dropped on the MLS. And then if you want to go over those.
Sure. Yeah, the median list price currently is $495,000, and the median sold price is $440,000. The average days that the houses are on market right now are about 68 days. So that's kind of what we're seeing in the market right now.
So since you guys are out there paving what is it on the pavement, or what is it hitting the pavement? What are you guys seeing right now with the last couple of buyers you guys have had?
Well, for some of my buyers, honestly, do you mean like on the houses on the market?
Yeah, just kind of what the market looks like. Are you guys still seeing seller concessions? Are you guys seeing any multiple offers yet? What have maybe the last 2 or 3 offers you guys have submitted look like, I guess?
Personally, I've seen quite a bit more buyers come to the market when it comes to for sellers to kind of, go back and forth with their offers. They are some are still going with their offering the concessions, but you got to work a little harder for them. So they're still out there. You can still get them, but you just gotta have the right agent to negotiate that for your clients, for your buyers. And then on the seller side, because we also have quite a bit of listings, we've seen quite a bit of offers come in for our listings.
That's awesome.
Over asking price, at asking price. We haven't seen too many under asking price.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing here is, as if you have a listing, this goes for people that want to sell their property. I think that if you list your property right since the beginning, there should be no reason on why you shouldn't get an above asking offer, which is actually what we have been doing in our team. We look at what the ARV, the after repair value, is on the property, and we'll go ahead and knock it down maybe like around $10,000 to $15,000, and that's the price that we're going to list it at. Because we've noticed that doing that versus instead of putting it at ARV or above ARV, we tend to get more offers and they start getting competitive. And at this point, it's where you're able to go ahead and maneuver and kind of work with those offers that you have to try to get the best and highest for your client. So that's on the listing side. Now on the buyer side, definitely right now, because interest rates, as we've seen, they're not the very lowest, right, that we can do. A lot of people are still needing concessions because they need to pay their closing cost. So the last clients that I've had on the buyer side, we have definitely asked for concessions. And what I like to do personally, or what we like to do, we like to call the agents before and prior to submitting any offers to kind of see the movement and kind of get some feedback and see, hey, how accurate or what are the chances that we actually get this property, right? Definitely let them know, and most of them are able to give us concessions as of right now. I could say some of them could, if they're new listings, and they're really good listings, they're probably not going to last. Probably somebody is going to beat us out because they probably have other offers, cash offers, whatever the case is. But if they're listings that have been on the market for quite some time, I don't think we've seen any issues on getting seller concessions, probably up to 3%, honestly.
That's awesome. So, of course, thank you for being on the show today. And like we were saying before I got you guys on the air, is every week we talk about the process of becoming a homeowner. So, of course, the first episode we did of this season, we did just buyer's consultation. And then, of course, we did getting pre-qualified last week. So, of course, I wanted to have you guys both on the show this week just to talk about what the home buying search looks like. So, of course, what are the first steps for a first-time home buyer to take when they're beginning the home search process?
So obviously the first step is, reaching out to the lender and getting that pre-qualification letter. So once you've done that, that's when, we step in, and based on what you qualified for, the number that the lender gave you, we can start, sending those houses out. If there's any houses that you like on that list that we send you, then you're obviously they're gonna send us, I like these. That's when we kind of call the agents, and how she was saying, we kind of, I guess you could say, pre-screen and see if there's even a chance of our offer getting kind of accepted for our clients. But assuming that everything went well and they're like, you know what, we don't have any offers, we would like for you guys to show the house, we'd go take them to look at the house. We'd go take them to look at the house, and then, if they do like it, they want to submit an offer, then that's when we start the negotiation process, making sure our offer is accepted and that suits our client very well. And then the process from there is what else?
No, well, I mean, you basically said it all. After there, if they like it.
Sorry, that's just making it short, I guess. From you get the pre-qual letter, you send them a list of houses. They like a house, we submit an offer. And then after that, there's a couple other steps when it comes to the.
Now, when you're under contract,
when you're under contract, yes.
So, of course, how do you determine just their budget and their financial readiness based off that pre-qual? Because, of course, that pre-qual could be, of course, a lot higher than what they really can afford. And they will, though, what is it called? House poor, where they can only afford to really pay their mortgage.
So we've actually, yeah, absolutely. We've actually had some clients who, I currently have some clients actually who are pre-qualified for $430,000, but they did, or I'm sorry, not 400. I currently have some clients who are pre-qualified for 402 is what they got pre-qualified for. But they're two sisters. They mentioned to us they do not want to go above 350 because that was their budget and that's what they felt comfortable obviously giving on their mortgage. So knowing that right away, even though they are pre-qualified at 402, which would be like, oh, you would want to get a $400 property versus a 350, right? But you obviously have to listen to your client, and that's something that I really pride myself on, listening to my client exactly what it is that they want, the locations, which is where the buyer's consultation comes in, what they're looking for, bats, etc. Now, I also like to make sure what it is that they are able to sacrifice. Are you able to sacrifice the location? Are you able to sacrifice one bedroom? Are you able to sacrifice not having a pool? Whatever the case is, right? There's some things that are more important to certain people than other things. So being an agent comes along with just listening to what your client really wants and what they're willing to go ahead and do. Because yeah, they would want a house at 350, and most people, it's normal for most people to be like, I want a house at 350 with 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, a pool in Scottsdale. You know what I mean? Like,
don't forget the RV gig.
Exactly. Like, there's just and sometimes sometimes we just laugh about it, and we're like, it's so funny how so many people just have not noticed how much the market has changed. Like, we are not back in even 2020. It's crazy. We asked some people like, oh, when did you buy your house in 2020? How much did you buy it for? $215, and it was a big old house, 3 bed, 2 bath. Like, it's just insane how much the market has changed. So being an agent is about listening to your client, but also being able to school them and letting them know, hey, you know what? I hear you exactly what you want, but this is what we're working with, and this is why.
So it's about educating your client and educating the people that are wanting to buy a house.
Exactly.
I will say though, if they do want all of that stuff, that the 5-bedroom, 3-car garage, RV gate,
With the pool.
and like 4 acres of land. I saw it on TikTok yesterday. Indiana for like $315. So you can move down to
We'll take
Indiana.
them to Indiana. I gotta get licensed there.
I saw that TikTok and I was like, man, I might just move out to Indiana.
Heck yeah, shoot.
2,600 square foot house, 4 acres.
That's insane. That's insane.
So what are some common mistakes you guys are seeing first time home buyers make when they start the home search process?
I got one.
Whoa, he was fast on that
The
one.
biggest, honestly, in my opinion, the biggest mistake, and this is where you kind of had to educate them a little bit. The biggest mistake is that it's their first time buying a house ever, their first home, but they want their dream house. You know, they want their dream house. They either don't qualify for it because, you know, their expectations are, I want to, like Luz was saying, I want a 5-bedroom, I want a pool, I want this, but I want it at 350. So they have that expectation looking at houses that are actually at 350 and they're 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, no pool, 1,300 square feet, you know, in the area that they wanted at. So the biggest mistake is they don't want to expand to the areas that are less expensive and might have what they're looking for.
So basically also they're not willing to, let's say, for example, drive an extra 5 or 10 minutes to work just because they want to be in a certain area.
Correct. And yeah, they basically, a lot of people, they want to get their dream house on their very first try. And sometimes the people who can do it, great, but some people who don't have the open mind to expand and want it in Phoenix and all those other things, and they're stuck on that, it becomes very difficult to actually, start or finish the process because you're just going to be looking forever and ever and ever. This house doesn't meet your expectations, and that's a big mistake in my opinion.
Do you have anything to add?
Honestly, the biggest mistake that I've seen, that's actually a really good question.
Or just some common, it doesn't have to be the biggest, it's just some common mistakes you guys see.
Well, I would say this kind of goes hand in hand on it actually happened to me. But I think that was kind of my mistake in a way, because sometimes us as agents, we think, since we know, we don't think that our clients are going to do it because we know, like, it's common sense. They're not going to quit their job. They're not going to, use their credit cards or overuse their credit cards. They're not going to go buy a car. Like, it's common sense, right? But I learned my lesson.
So is that your favorite part, when they show up to the final walkthrough in a brand new car?
I learned my lesson. Let me tell you that. So, I, had my transactions, never had a problem with it. And until we ran into a situation, one of my clients, it was a couple, and everything was perfectly fine. We were getting the perfect home for them. They were in love. Everything was going great. And I think 2 weeks before close of escrow, we come to find out that the wife actually quit her job. I mean, she was pregnant, it was a high-risk pregnancy, all that stuff, which makes sense. But we didn't find out until 2 weeks before it happened. And they thought everything was going to be fine. When we found out, we're like, oh my gosh, like, we're going to have to flip all the tables and, do all these crazy things to get this to the finish line. I'm not going to give the name of the lender, by the way. But we tried to make it happen. The lender tried to pull it off till the last second. And long story short, we got the clear to close. That same day, we were going to give them their keys. We're like, guys, we're about to make it. You're about to become homeowners. And underwriting did their last final call to their employee and their employer, and they find out, hey, you know what? This individual is no longer working, so your loan is no longer approved that same day. So it was just so crazy to me, the fact that we just did everything, and, it was just insane. So to me, it was like you live and you learn. Sometimes we think that we have, because we know it, we think our clients know it. But I think that my biggest lesson there was, hey, remind your clients that there's certain things that you cannot do during the home buying process. It's very crucial. So now, every time I get a client, I'm like, please don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Do not do this, because it will ruin it.
You hand them the do's and don'ts of real estate.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the thing is, and I'll be honest with you, is yeah, they didn't get the home, but good they found out before then. Because if they found out after, they would have honestly told them, hey, this is the loan amount. You need to either sell the house or pay us back this amount. Because that's what we were talking about last week with the lender we had on the air last week, is if they find out that you quit and you just didn't tell them, you're signing some paperwork at closing saying, as of right now, everything I've told you up to this point has been true. So if they do the verification of employment after, and they found out she had quit 2 weeks before, they would have called the loan in due and said, hey, your $400,000 loan needs to be paid in the next 30 days. That's
insane. Yeah.
And just imagine her high-risk pregnancy and having to move out of the house, sell it back, and try to figure out how to get that money back.
That would have been a mess. You're right. Yeah.
So everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, but the good thing is that, I mean, they were happy with the whole process. They understood. We're still in a very good communication, and they're like, hey, whenever we're ready, we're gonna come back to you. Like, it was obviously our fault. So we're good standards and all that stuff. So we're just waiting for her to give birth and do all that stuff, and then they're gonna come back on the market. That's awesome. So get them their home this time.
So what are some factors that first-time home buyers should consider when choosing a location?
Obviously, one of the factors would be like your commute to work. That obviously it's a big deal, but I would also say don't think about it too much, because an extra 5-10 minute drive is, it's not a big deal, especially if you're looking for a specific price point or a specific type of house that may not be in the exact same location that you want. So I wouldn't say think about it too hard, but it is a factor of how far your commute is to work, or if you have kids, where the schools are located. And maybe you like a nice community with like community pools, parks, something that's nice and clean. So that's part of the location that you'd take in consideration.
Anything to add? No. How do you guide first-time home buyers through the process of finding the right neighborhood?
Finding the right neighborhood. Honestly, I think most of the clients kind of come in with the mindset of already knowing where they want to live for various reasons. Oh, I'm going to move jobs, or my family lives here, my mom lives here, my kids go to school here, whatever the case is, you know what I mean? So I would say it's more about them knowing exactly how far they are willing to go ahead and go. It kind of goes hand in hand with the same thing that he was saying, how far they're willing to drive, and how maybe, a lot, especially if you have family, like if they have kids and all that stuff, they don't want to be out in the outskirts. I've had clients who don't qualify for so much. And I have actually sold properties in Casa Grande, in Arizona City, in Eloy, all of those areas over there. But like looking back, most of the people that have bought properties there are either one, retiring, two, it's just husband and wife with no kids, or three, it's an investment property. Like if I tell that to a family, somebody that has kids, children that are going to school right now, they're going to be like, absolutely not, you're crazy. I am not going all the way over there, because everything is just so far out, like the supermarkets, the schools, like everything is just too far out for them, where it makes sense, you know what I mean? So I think most of the buyers already come with that mindset of where they want to be, how far they're willing to go. And then again, it's just more than anything, educating them and showing them, going back in hand with what he's saying, how you're not going to get your dream home right now. We got to start somewhere. Later on, you refi, cash out, HELOC, whatever it is, and get another property.
Rent it out.
And
exactly.
And, another thing that a lot of people do come in with is like, I don't want a HOA, or I'm okay with HOA, or I prefer not to have HOA, but if it's okay if it has to not like the house. But if they come in and they say, absolutely, I don't want an HOA, and then you show them the neighborhoods that don't have HOA, depending on the price point, obviously, they're typically not the prettiest houses, not the prettiest neighborhoods, actually. The house might be beautiful, but the neighborhood might not be as clean or as friendly. So once they see that, they'll open up to, oh, okay, well, maybe I can check out some HOA houses. Again, depends on the price points. There's beautiful neighborhoods with no HOAs, but there's also really scary neighborhoods with no HOA. So it ties back to the education, showing them kind of what that is, and then you'll kind of know where to guide them from there once you show them the differences between an HOA community and a non-HOA community.
Okay. And talking about that, like HOA, non-HOA is part of like the features or stuff that they want. So can you explain to me how detailed can you get when doing a home search with someone? Like, I know it can get pretty detailed, but can you explain to people how detailed you can get just on features, amenities, location, RV garage, what kind of backyards? Like, I know it can get pretty detailed. So
Yeah, so literally I've detailed age restrictions. I have researched for some of my clients that want RV gates. Some of them want pools. Some of them want a certain amount of square footage. They're like, I don't want anything less than 8,000 square feet with an RV gate. So we're taking them all the way to Tonopah, you know what I mean? Like all those areas. I have also gone down to manufactured homes. Those are the ones where you need to get a little detailed as far as the age of the manufactured home. So the year built, if they have HOA, the lot, lease, how much they have to rent. It could get super, super detailed as far as if you are very specific on what you want. So most of the common ones, like you mentioned, is going to be HOA, pools, RV gates, 2 stories. Like we can also go ahead and feature those out. Age of the property, and yeah, I mean those are basically things.
but also the more you get, I guess, the more you narrow your search, the less, of course, you see. And I know that, for example, you guys send your clients with the parameters of what they want, but of course, they're always going to be looking on the Redfins, the Zillows, those websites, and of course they'll be like, why haven't you shown me this property? And it's because it, of course, doesn't even fit close to what they want.
Yeah, it's some clients are very specific on what they want. Like I've heard some people want like, oh, I want a driveway that goes like in a circle because I want to be able to move out and like get out and stuff. I've also heard somebody be like, oh, I want a bathtub, a specific type of bathtub, like in the master. Like she knew exactly what she wanted. Some individuals was like, oh, I want a 2-story house and I want, 2 bedroom or 2 bathrooms or whatever the case is. Like they just get very detailed and stuff, where sometimes I'm just like, okay, we're going to need to work a little bit and switch some stuff around, which is that's where I come in, where what are you willing to sacrifice? Like, what do you need versus what do you want? Like the needs and wants scenario, that's where that comes in.
And obviously our main priority is to get them what they want, but if what they want is not available, then that's when we talk about the sacrifices that they need to make. Are you willing to drive 10 minutes out? Are you 10 minutes further? Are you willing to get 1 bedroom less or 1 bathroom less? Are you willing to get a 2-car garage instead of a 4-car garage, with the driveway? So
I want one of those drives where you drive in and then it rotates your car, like Batman style.
Oh, I've seen
I want
one
that.
of those.
So
Those
if you guys ever find one of those, give me a call.
We got a buyer.
So I guess, how do you educate your clients of kind of like what the current real estate market is when you guys are going through the home buying process?
Do you want to answer that one?
Yeah. So, I mean, for example, right, in the past couple clients, right, we'll talk to them and we'll tell them kind of how the market is, but it really is kind of just setting them up for how things are going to go. So, hey, right now, this is, it's pretty competitive, but here's our game plan. This is what I plan to do to help you out, to help you save money or get you into the house that you really want to be in. But I do go ahead and reassure them about, like, we're really good at concessions. I think every deal that I've personally closed, I've always been able to help my client get concessions. So I kind of reassure them that, hey, this is what we're going to fight for. It might be a little difficult because of the market starting to pick up. People are starting to buy more, and sellers are, they're less willing to pay those concessions because of all the extra offers they're getting. But the game plan is to come in with a really strong offer. Maybe we'll get good terms, get good terms to be able to get our offer accepted and get you those concessions. And prepare them in case it goes wrong. Let's say, but in any case, they don't accept the concessions, which is a high chance because of how competitive the market is right now, then we have to move on and keep searching. Okay. So it's really just preparing them
for the market.
For the market.
Like how it currently is.
It's not really explaining them how the market is, just preparing them for what they might see because of what you know. Because explaining the market to somebody who's not in real estate, it's a little hard. Yeah. They might not understand.
Yeah, I remember in 2020, it was pretty much like, hey, if you find something you like, we're submitting an offer the moment you walk out. Be ready to go. Be ready to pull the trigger.
Right. No, yeah, absolutely. I think that sometimes a lot of clients, I think it was like a very big topic that interest rates are going to drop this year. So a lot of people last year we saw like, oh no, I'm going to wait till next year. I'm going to wait till next year,
Call me next year.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm going to wait. The interest rates are going to drop. I keep hearing in the news, right, always like has a huge factor on us real estate agents that the interest rates are going to drop or the market's going to crash or whatever the case is and all that stuff. So everybody starts believing it. And us, as we are in the market, in the real estate industry, we know on a daily basis, we see on a daily basis, we submit offers on a daily basis. We have listings, we do all of that stuff. So why listen to someone else that is just an anchor at the news versus somebody who's actually in the market right now, submitting those offers, is seeing those numbers every single day. So I think a lot of obviously we can't tell you like, oh yeah, the interest rates are going to drop or the interest rates are going to go up. We can only educate you. And it goes back to the education. Hey, if the interest rates were to drop tomorrow, this is what we can do for you.
Of course. So what resources or tools do you guys have right now that you provide to your first-time home buyers through this process of just home search?
So I want to actually answer that one because that one, it's not just for, yes and no for first-time home buyers. So I think the resources that we have in the group that we're in, which is Lyons, and this is one of the biggest things that I will always say to anybody that ever wants to join our team or like wants to come on board, like what separates me from any other or us from any other agent out there in the market. We don't only do traditional real estate. We are like deep into what is wholesaling, creative financing, rentals, and obviously traditional, and also people that want to go ahead and just do any type of things, fix and flips, Airbnbs, long-term rentals, the BRRRR, like whatever it is. Like we just have so many methods that if a client were to come to me right now and for whatever reason, her score is not good, he doesn't make enough income, but he has extra cash on the side or whatever the case is, I have 4 other methods in which I can go ahead and help this client. Versus, hey, you know what, I'm so sorry, your credit score is not good, so we're going to have to give you another year until you're able to go ahead and do a home purchase. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we also pride on the fact that if somebody comes in without a social and they're like, hey, I have an I-10, like, what can I do? How can I buy? I've never thought in my life I could actually become a homeowner, whatever the case is. We're able to go ahead and help those clients. We're able to go ahead and convert those clients from dead leads and bring them back up and see that light in their eyes and be like, wow, like there was actually a way for me to do it. I think every time I help a client that is not a traditional transaction, it just like brings back my purpose. I'm like, dang, like this is why I'm here. And this is why I ended up in this group. And this is why I met the people that I did. Because I'm not just selling real estate. I'm like literally making people's life and changing people's lives, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that.
You hit it on the head. You hit the nail on the head. But besides having all those extra methods to be able to help our clients who may not qualify traditionally, we have a really solid team, including lenders that we work really, really close with that actually help our clients with additional programs, programs that are pretty specific and exclusive to us that not everybody has access to, that not every lender has access to, or not every lender is willing to tackle.
Of course.
So these lenders, obviously, they work with us. We bring so much value, so many clients to them that they're willing to give these exclusive programs to us, which is really, really big, especially in today's market with how the rates are. It really helps us out a lot. It helps us out a lot by us being able to help our clients out with that.
So basically what Luz, you said was just MLS is one thing, but you guys have access to so many listings that are off market that no one, but other than of course your group, has access to you, and of course you're in David's groups, which is awesome because, like you said, you guys aren't a one size fits all. Like you guys have all these other pocket listings or coming soon or off market deals that can help clients find what they're looking for.
Yeah. I remember actually having a client who I think this was last year. We closed her in November, and she was very specific on what she wanted. She wanted a specific area, whatever the case was, and we had her pre-qual since July, and we couldn't find her exactly what she wanted. But during that whole process, I sent her off-market deals. I sent her creative financing deals. I sent her retail deals. I sent her all these type of deals. And, I mean, we were close to, I sold her the vision on every single one. And I was like, hey, this is how it's going to work. This is how eventually you're going to get out of it. This is what the benefit is for you, exactly whatever the case is, right? And she ended up locking up a property from the MLS. And now she wanted it as an investment home. And this was her first home ever. So now she is a landlord. And I think one of the biggest things, again, going to, in a way, what separates us from other agents is not only the fact that we sell real estate, but we also have our own real estate. We also have gone through the rental process. I mean, we just went through a whole eviction process, like the first time we've ever done it. So I think all of these things have been very, very helpful for us. Learning how to do all the mistakes that we made, the things that we should or shouldn't do, because of that reason, I have been able to help a couple clients actually become landlords for the first time. And they still hit me up like, hey, this happened. Like, how do I do it? And it's awesome because I have that relationship with them. They're literally like so grateful for me. And they're always like, thank God I went with you, like blah, 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 this and that. And I think it's really helpful when you know exactly how to guide your clients because of your own experiences.
I'm gonna have to have you come back another episode to talk about being landlords and the whole eviction process because that's super interesting too.
Evictions are pain.
Eviction king.
Eviction king. We'll get you a card that says eviction king. So of course, thank you for that story. Is there any other success stories or tips that you guys want to share with people, first-time home buyers, or even people coming back to the market for investments and stuff like that?
Yeah, I have a pretty cool story. He's an investor. We sold him a house that he wanted to fix and flip. Neither of us were realtors at the time. She was just wholesaling, so she sold him that deal, and we kind of didn't hear back from him at all. He kind of just bought the house, did his thing, and went on. Almost a year later, right? About a year, half a year, a little over half a year, almost a year later. I was a realtor by then, and he calls her back. She said, hey, like, I've listed my house. It's been I don't even know how long, like 6-7 months that I've listed my house, and it's not selling. Is there anybody on your team that can help sell this house? She's like, yeah, I mean, I can help you sell this house. My husband is a realtor, and he can list it for you. So, I talked to him. I kind of get the feedback on what he's been listening or what he's been getting from that house and what the agent has been doing to try to sell it. And I go based off that feedback, and I also tell him about how the situation is, why the house isn't selling. Was it overpriced? Was it the location? Turns out it was both. It was pretty high, and it was right in front of the main street on Thomas. So, people don't really like to, especially with kids, they don't want a big main street and
traffic.
Traffic. So, educated him on what we should do and what number is the best number to price it at, where he can still benefit and make profit, and get it off the market because it's been almost a year. So I think it was 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I think maybe, if that. And we did a ton of marketing, flyers, posters,
open houses,
email blasting. We did a whole bunch of stuff within those first 2-3 weeks. I was able to find the buyer myself, so we did like a dual agency, and we got it sold. We got it sold within those 3 weeks, and it was the price. It was for where it was on the street. The price was pretty high. So he was happy that as soon as he switched to us. I'm not saying that I am the most amazing, best realtor of all time and can sell anything in the world, which I am, but not to discredit anybody. But he was just so happy that as soon as we did that, as soon as we educated him on what needed to be done for that specific home, that he was able to sell it. We were able to sell it in like 2-3 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to kind of the same thing I said earlier. Pricing on a home is huge because as an agent, sometimes we're like, somebody's like, hey, I want to list my house and I want to list it at $700,000. For us, it's like, heck yeah, sure, I'll take it, $700,000 or $1 million, whatever it is, you know what I mean? But have you looked at the comps? Have you actually run comps? Do you actually? And I think that's another thing that is very, very huge. Like, us as the professionals, and this goes for all the real estate agents, we need to learn to have those uncomfortable conversations with our clients. We need to learn to let them know, hey, you know what? Like, for example, I've had really uncomfortable conversations with my clients before because we actually also we did a fix and flip and we lost money in our first fix and flip. And there has been a lot of investors who we have sold deals to that they tell us, I need to list it at this price or else I'm going to lose money. And sometimes nobody wants to have those uncomfortable conversations with them and telling them, hey, I'm so sorry, but if you list it at this price, you're going to end up losing more money in the long run because remember, you have a hard money loan, 100% interest. You have 2 months left on this hard money loan before you have to renew it again and pay fees and do all that stuff. So either one, we take the loss now or we're going to take it worse later. You know what I mean? And like, obviously I don't tell them exactly like that, but you have to educate them and kind of tell them and all that stuff and go based off your experience and let them know, this is my recommendation. At the end of the day, it is your listing. It is your house. I'm going to do whatever it is that you want me to do. If you want me to list it at that price, I'll list it at that price. But based on my experience, I definitely do recommend we go this way. Price is always going to be one of the biggest factors and most of the reason on why so many listings are on the market for so long. So, yeah.
Okay. Any other success stories?
I actually have one. So this one's not a retail. This wasn't a retail transaction. This was a creative financing, a seller finance that we did with our team.
Can you explain, first of all, what creative financing is?
Yeah. So creative financing is when a homeowner, most of the cases, they're no longer able to pay their mortgage. Let's say it's a sub-2 deal, right? They're no longer able to pay their mortgage because of financial reasons. They just no longer can keep up. Maybe they're behind in their mortgage, whatever the case is. So if they sell it on market, they're going to go ahead and lose a lot of money. So that's where we come in. Most of the time, we have cold callers in our office, our acquisitions team, who most of the time be calling these foreclosures or auction houses or whatever the case is. And we bring those options to those sellers, and we're like, hey, if you don't want to ruin your credit, you don't want to go bankrupt, you don't want to do a foreclosure, all of this stuff, we have a solution for you. So that's where we come in and we offer to take over their loan. So we're basically coming in, we're finding, let's say I find David to come and take over your property that you can't pay the mortgage for anymore. So that's what creative financing, it's finding a creative way to save you. So in this case, to save our seller, right? So I had somebody reach out to me on Facebook, and this guy messaged me and he said, after seeing everything that we've done, he's like, hey, I need help selling my home. I am about to go on a foreclosure. I have not paid my house for a certain amount of months, and I wanted to see if this is something that you could help me with. That's absolutely something we can help you with. I got on the phone with him. I had him explain me the whole scenario of everything going on. And I think he had a time frame, I think within like a month, I think it was, his house was literally about to go on foreclosure. We ended up telling him, hey, you know what? This is how we can save your loan. This is what we can do. This is how much we can actually give you so you can go ahead and net. And then we'll go ahead and take care of the rest, and we'll have somebody cover and take over your loan. He's like, yes, he was not living here. Actually, he was not living in the property anymore. The property was vacant. He moved somewhere else. So it was just pretty crazy because of the fact that we were able to sell it within, I think, 2 weeks. We sold the property and he got some money. Instead of losing everything, he got some money in his pocket, messing up everything.
And I'm sorry, he bought that home like a year before he decided to, right? So he had like no equity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
and that's usually when the best time is to do creative financing, when you really don't have equity, because at that point it's a lose-lose for you.
Exactly.
So even if he wanted to sell on market, he wouldn't have had anything. He would have came out of pocket
Yeah.
more money.
And I think, if I'm not wrong, if I remember correctly, I think the property had some things that still needed to be fixed, obviously. But we were able to find a buyer for him. This client came in. It's just a win-win for everybody. The buyer ended up being a buyer that was an I-10 who absolutely thought he could never purchase a home. When you purchase a seller finance deal, they don't require 2 years of work history, the great credit, and like all these other stuff, right? So all they needed was their down payment, and they needed their ID or passport. And sometimes they'll ask for like bank statements just to confirm where your down payment is coming from. And that's absolutely it. So we ended up giving the keys to actually Yuli, which is one of the girls that works with us in the retail side. She was the one who got the buyer. So I helped the guy as a seller, and she helped her client who absolutely thought they could never purchase a home, and their whole family moved in there.
That's awesome.
It was a beautiful story, and I think that's one of the biggest ones that I'm always going to be really grateful for, because this guy was just like, thank you so much. Like, you literally in a way saved my life. You know what I mean?
And that's the cool thing. Like you guys said, you guys are a full shop where you have the clients that need to sell and the clients that can't buy unless you get creative, or there's a certain way to get them to buy the houses. So it's awesome. So is there any other tips that you guys want to share before we call it a day?
Tips for home buyers.
I would say, if you feel like you're ready to purchase a home, don't wait for interest rates, or don't wait for somebody to tell you. Like, if you feel financially stable, and best thing that you can do is give a realtor, the closest, nearest realtor that you have, a call and see if you qualify and if you're ready. Because you never know. Life happens, right? Life happens, and you could be ready now, and 6 months from now, you end up not being able to pay, or you lose your job, or whatever the case is, and now you really can't buy a house in the traditional way, right? So I would say, if you feel like you are ready, if you feel like you could qualify, then try to get with the lender, try to get with the realtor as soon as possible. And then another big thing is, if you want to work on your credit, we actually have individuals who are credit repair specialists, and we actually work with lenders who can help you and guide you to know exactly what kind of credit cards you can go ahead and get to help boost your credit up. So instead of you waiting like, oh, I'm going to try to work on my credit by myself, some people don't know exactly how to work credit, how to maneuver, how do I use my credit card? Am I using too much? Should I make my full payment? Whatever the case, so many questions, right? Our lenders are able to go ahead and help you with that and guide you, and then, be ready within the time frame that you already have in mind to purchase a home. Those are my tips.
One tip that I would give was just be open-minded when it comes to actually choosing your home. Be open-minded on the area. Don't be too closed off on a certain area. Don't try to just be, well, I want to stay between this street and no further. It's gonna make it very difficult. You might have to search for an extended period of time. So just be open-minded on the area. It doesn't have to, you don't have to go all the way to a different city, but just be open-minded on how far you're willing to go. A couple more minutes isn't a big deal. Be open-minded.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to, in a way, your first home is not your dream home. And
it's not your forever home.
Even though so many of us say it so much, it's actually really, really true.
I think back in the day it was, for like people maybe are like our grandparents' age. They thought, oh, I'm gonna buy a home. This is my forever home, and it happened. But for now, in this generation, it's just not happening. But like David says, just be open about it. But one thing you brought up that clicked on my mind, and I haven't heard it as much as it was before, where rents were increasing drastically from 1 month to the next. Your landlord was calling you saying, hey, your next rent term is going to go up $500, $800.
Yeah.
But that's something, what you said, I kind of want to say this is, if your rent is going up, even if it's going up $100, like you said, don't wait. If it's meant for you and you can see, hey, I'm already paying this much, why not pay that to myself, and then instead of paying my landlord's mortgage, pay your own mortgage. I'm pretty sure you guys would agree with me that, hey, it's never the wrong time to at least start the conversation.
Right.
Exactly.
Ask the questions and get the knowledge that you need to at least set yourself up. Another thing when it comes to the renting, a lot of people, there's quite a bit of people who are like, no, well, I'm not going to buy because the interest rates are way too high. and they're still renting. And it's like, I mean, you're going to pay either a 7% interest or 100% interest. What
Exactly.
you choose. You could rent if you're ready to buy a house and you're worried about the interest. I got some news for you, man. You're paying 100% to your landlord.
Of course. So if someone does want to start talking to you guys, start the process, start the conversation, what are the channels that you guys have? Instagram, TikTok. What's you guys' phone number?
Yeah.
MySpace, Facebook, smoke
for real.
signals.
So I'm more active on
US man.
Instagram, on Facebook, and on TikTok. And you will find me as Arizona Realtor _Luz or Luz Villalvazo. And my phone number is 602-469-5830. So call me, text me, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm also. You can also reach me on Instagram, Facebook, Instagram, or my phone. So Instagram is realtor.barber.david. So I was a barber, so realtor barber. And then phone number would be 602-814-1015. So you can either call me, text me, or DM me on Instagram.
So do we get a free haircut once we close on the home?
I cannot say yes. But yes.
But yes. Well, of course, thank you for being on the show, guys. And of course, if you guys have any insurance needs or any more questions for these guys here, of course, reach out to me or reach out to them. I'll put their socials in the comments. But thanks for being on the show, guys.
Thank you so much, Francisco.
Thank you for having us.
I appreciate you.